Hello everybody! The keys to maximum weight loss. My name is Dr. Frey from Clínica Back to the Garden, and today we're going to be talking about some basic principles and concepts that you absolutely need to understand if you are trying to lose weight and adopt a healthy diet and lifestyle. But specifically, we're going to be talking about weight loss today. If you don't know our center, we have a center in San Juan. It's called Clínica Back to the Garden. And it is the only center in Latin America that specializes in chronic disease reversal. We also have a residential center for our fasting patients to come and stay while they fast and get well. All of our patients at our center are medically supervised while they are fasting. Anyone who wants to undergo a fast longer than a few days absolutely should be monitored by a skilled professional who has experience, or a skilled physician, I should say, who has experience in supervising water fasts. Preferably someone who is certified by the International Association of Hygienic Physicians. Okay? So before we talk about the keys to maximum weight loss, we have to talk about how fat we are as a society, as a country. Puerto Rico is fatter than any other place in the United States. Super fat. And the only way to combat this epidemic is by dealing with the cause. And the cause is, of course, it's the food. It's the food. The food is the reason why you're fat and sick. I'm going to say that a bunch of times, but it is true. The fittest city in the United States just happens to be Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll give some applause to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the obesity rate among adults is only 24%. 24%, that's a whole lot of adults, okay? The average obesity rate in the United States is 40%, so they are significantly lower than the average in the United States, but 24% is incredible. They also have, in Minneapolis, an obesity rate among children, which is 23%. That is tons of children. So, what can we do? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is a concept called caloric density. Now, if you haven't heard of caloric density before, I'm going to need to explain that very simply before we begin. Okay? Caloric density, you can write that down if you want to. Caloric density is the measure of the amount of calories of a food relative to weight. And today we're going to be utilizing a pound. Okay? So how many calories are in a pound of a certain food? Okay? Let's, for example, take carrots, okay? I'm not using carrots for any specific reason. I just love carrots. So you have a pound of carrots right here, okay? That's a lot of carrots. And in this pound of carrots, there's 100 calories. Okay, there's about 100 calories in a pound of carrots. That's a lot of carrots. It's not so many calories, right? Now we compare this pound of carrots to a pound of, let's say, meat, okay? I have a pound of meat. You know, everybody knows a quarter pounder, just 4 tiny little slabs of meat. That would be a pound of meat, and in a pound of meat, you get 1,000 calories. It's 1,000. That's 1,000 calories. So a pound of meat has 1,000 calories per pound, and a pound of carrots only has 100 calories. Okay, so that is very simply what caloric density actually looks like. Okay? So through this lecture, I want you to be writing things down because these numbers are very important, and if you don't get them correctly, then your list is going to be totally messed up, and I want you to have these points correct. So number 1, okay, we're going to be talking about vegetables, okay? Write down vegetables. Number 1, vegetables, and then put an equal sign. That equals 100, okay? So all of your vegetables are 100 calories per pound. That's right, all the vegetables. So anything you could possibly put in a salad, okay? Lettuce, spinach, carrots, onions, cucumber, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, peas, cucumber, chard, kale, any of your green leafy vegetables. Okay, a salad, vegetables, okay? They're about 100 calories in 1 pound. So you can eat a huge salad, really big salad, weighs about a pound, it's only 100 calories, okay? We're not adding to the salad anything else but vegetables, okay? Okay, it's a vegetable salad. That's why they call it a vegetable salad, because it just has vegetables in it. Okay, so vegetables are 100 calories per pound. Now, we can triple the caloric density by switching to a different food, and that food is called fruit. Okay, everybody just give me a quick thumbs up or a wow face or something so I know that you guys can hear me correctly. And if you have any questions, just spit them out as we go. I'm happy to answer questions. Okay, so fruit. Fruit is, does anyone know how many calories per pound is fruit? We're talking about any fruit. Mangoes, papayas, bananas, grapes, berries, apples, pears, peaches. Okay, I love fruit. And most people like fruit a lot more than they like vegetables. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because fruit has sugar, right? Tastes better. It's got more sugar. Some vegetables have sugar, like beets and carrots, but not like fruit. Okay, so fruit, thank you. You guys hear me okay, right? Please, just give me a thumbs up. Make sure everybody can hear. Fruit is 3 times the caloric density. That's 300 calories in a pound. So you have a whole pound of mango, of papaya, of bananas, of peaches. A whole pound of fruit is 300 calories. That's 3 times the caloric density of vegetables. Okay? Now, we're going to step down to our third category, and our third category is going to be whole complex carbohydrates. Okay? These are whole foods. We are not talking about flour or crackers or pasta or bread or cakes or cookies made from flour or from processed grain. We are talking about whole complex carbohydrates. This is rice. Hello, Kenneth. Thank you for joining us. So what we're talking about here is actual whole complex carbohydrates. Rice, beans, potatoes. Those are the easiest ones you can think of, but we're talking about all grains. Rice, oats, wheat, rye, barley, millet, quinoa, all types of beans. Okay, navy beans, red beans, pinto beans, frijoles, habichuelas, fava beans, white beans, lima beans, any type of bean or legume, and any type of starchy vegetable. Starchy vegetables are that you need to cook in order to eat. Things like potatoes, yam, plantain, malanga, taro, any type of roots that you need to cook. Okay, so rice, beans, potatoes, this category is how many calories per pound? It's 500 to 600 calories per pound. Okay, so write that down. I'm going to go over that real quick. So we have first, number 1 was vegetables, right? How many calories per pound is a vegetable? Please tell me. Let me know you're following me. How many calories per pound is a vegetable? In 1 pound of vegetables, you have 100 calories. Okay? In fruit is 3 times the caloric density. Life University, very good. That's my alma mater. So in a pound of fruit, we got 300 calories per pound. So we got vegetables first, and then we have fruit, and then below fruit, we have rice, beans, potatoes, whole foods, complex carbohydrates. Those are about 500 to 600 calories per pound. Okay? Is everybody following me? Yes or no? Yes or no? Good. Thank you for the thumbs up. So now I want you to draw a line. You need to draw a line on your paper. You have vegetables and fruits and complex carbohydrates. That's whole foods. Real food. Draw a line. And below the line, we're going to be talking about the foods that have a relatively high caloric density. Okay? The first food we come to is meat and other animal products. Meat and other animal products have around 1,000 calories per pound. That's a huge jump from vegetables, which are 100 calories per pound, to meat and animal products, which are around 1,000 calories per pound. Now, don't shoot me. All meats have slightly different caloric densities, as well as eggs and cheese. Cheese, for example, cheese is around 1,500 calories per pound. That's because they coagulate and condense the milk and put a bunch of salt in there, and it's really, really high fat content, and that's why the calories go up. So meat is around 1,000 calories per pound. Okay, that's a big jump from vegetables, right? Vegetables 100, meat 1,000. So in 1 pound of meat, you get 1,000 calories. Okay, that's a little less than about half of what you need, what a human needs, in a day. So we're about halfway through the chart right now, and you're kind of getting a picture about how this works. Okay, I'm going to give you another example just so we're on the same page. Let's take, for example, broccoli, which is a vegetable. We know that broccoli is a vegetable, and so vegetables have around 100 calories per pound, right? Yes or no? Vegetables have around 100 calories per pound. And so if we have a plate full of broccoli, right, that's a huge plate full of 2 heads of broccoli, is around a pound of broccoli. Big plate, it's like this big. Head here and head here, you can cut it up, you can chop it up, you can steam it, however you want to. It's a huge plate of broccoli, we can eat all of that and we only get 100 calories. But if we eat a pound of meat, right, which is about, 4 slices of meat in a pound, you get about 1,000 calories, okay? If you wanted to eat just 100 calories of meat, you'd need a piece of meat like that big. A little piece of meat like that. That's about 100 calories of meat or animal products, okay? So you're getting the idea. We can eat large amounts. Oh, thank you for the input. Hearts and thumbs up. I love those. Keep them coming. So you're getting the idea that if we eat foods that are lower in caloric density, right, they have less calories per pound, you can eat much more food, right? You can eat an abundance of food and still not be overeating. So as we move down the list, we come to number 6, which is processed carbohydrates, okay? This is things made from flours, okay? Pasta, quinoa pasta, corn pasta, rice pasta, black bean pasta, crackers, bread, cakes, cookies, anything that has processed grain in it. What they do is they take a grain and they grind it down with metal, steel blades about 1,000 times, and it turns into flour, and then we cook it at a high temperature and we raise the caloric density of the food. Guess how many calories is in a pound of bread? Guess, please guess. Hi, doctor, I love your wife and you. She's my wife. So we get from flour, we turn it into bread, and the bread becomes 1,500 calories per pound, right? We just went from a grain like rice, say we're going to make rice flour bread, or oats, which is around 500 calories per pound, and we processed the grain, and then we cook it and make it into bread, and now it's 1,500 calories per pound, right? You got that bread sitting on the table at the restaurant, and you can eat 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 pieces of bread before your meal, and you're not going to get full, right? They know that. That's why they put the bread there. That's why it's for free. And you push that bread basket to the edge of the table, and you wait for them to pick it up and bring you more bread. If you ate 2 baked potatoes before the meal, right? You eat 2 baked potatoes before the meal. Are you eating anything else? Absolutely not. It's going to fill you up and you'll be done. Okay? Processed carbohydrates are very high in caloric density. They're about 1,400 to 1,500 calories per pound. Okay? So, let's move on next. Sugar. Let's talk about sugar. We know that sugar is in fruit, right? Sugar is in fruit in very high amounts, but fruit is also only 300 calories per pound. So when we go from fruit, which is 300 calories per pound, to just pure sugar, any type of sugar, white table sugar, cane sugar, turbinado sugar, coconut palm sugar, date sugar, whatever you want to call it, sugar, maple syrup, corn syrup, rice syrup, it's all sugar. Sugar is around 1,700 calories per pound. 1,700. We just went from fruit, which is 300 calories per pound. Now we're eating sugar, and it's got 1,700 calories per pound. Why is that? Okay? It's because you take the fruit, and you basically get rid of everything that is useful to your body in that fruit, except for the sugar. Right? in the fruit, you have fiber and water and vitamins and minerals and protein and a little fat, a little essential fatty acid, and also lots of phytonutrients you get from the fruit. And you take all of that away, and you just end up with the sugar. Okay? So let's move down to a category that lots of people love to eat, and they think they're very, very healthy foods, but we do need to be careful with them. This is nuts and seeds. All right? This category of nuts and seeds you really do need to be careful with. Why? Because they're very high in fat, right? They're very high in fat. It's very easy to overeat on nuts, right? You could sit down with a big bowl of cashews and just eat those cashews and eat them all night, right? They're very high in fat, so we do need to be careful with that. The caloric density of nuts and seeds is around 2,800 calories, okay? I started 2 weeks ago with a plant-based diet, Clara Ruiz. Very good. You should love it. It's delicious, and you can eat tons of food. So nuts and seeds are around 2,800 calories per pound, and you do need to be careful with these. Things like almond butter and peanut butter and cashew butter and tahini. These are things that should be used in a very, very limited way, if at all, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Okay? Now, what is the point of all of this, right? I'm going to ask you guys some questions. There's about 30, 40 people here. I'm going to ask you some questions. I need some answers, okay? What foods do you think that we should be staying away from if you're trying to lose weight? Just pick a food. What types of foods do you think that we should be staying away from? That means you shouldn't really be eating if you're trying to lose weight, right? I just gave you a chart, right? We start at the top with vegetables, and then fruit, and then complex carbohydrates. That's whole foods, complex carbohydrates. And then we drew a line, and then below the line, we had animal products, and what else? Processed foods, sugar, nuts and seeds, and at the very bottom, we get oil, okay, which is a food that is pure fat, okay? This food is pure fat. It's just fat. There's nothing else in there. There's no nutrition. It's basically a useless food for your body. If you do want to know more about oil, or if you're angry that I'm saying that you shouldn't be eating oil, please go and watch our other videos. We have 2 other specific videos about the role of fat and oils in the diet. Yes, you shouldn't be eating processed food. Mireya, soniga, sugar, processed food. Yes, those are things that you should not be eating. Salt is something that you need to be careful with because salt holds onto water and other fluids, and it's going to be hard to lose weight if you're eating a lot of salt. That's pretty straightforward. Again, if you want to learn more about oil, then go watch our previous videos. It's on Facebook. There's one in English and in Spanish, and you'll learn a little bit more about what oil does to your body, whether it's good or not. But in terms of losing weight, you absolutely should be staying away from processed foods, especially a processed food which is pure fat. Oil is 4,000 calories in 1 pound. That's 4,000 calories. 4,000 calories in a pound of oil. Okay, that is the highest calorically dense food that you can get. So, what is the problem, right? It's very, very hot in here. We have no AC, but I'm still doing this for you. So, what is the problem, right? Thanks for the important information. As always, a great blessing. Esperanza. Thank you. Thank you for watching. So, what's the problem, right? Why can't we do this? Right? It's very hard for people to do it, apparently. This is not new information. This is information that is widely known. And it's just very hard for people, especially people in modern societies, to do. And why is that? It's because no one wants to eat vegetables. Nobody wants to eat vegetables. Even patients who come in and say that they're eating vegetables, they're really not eating vegetables. They're eating a little vegetable here and a little there and a little there. They're really not eating the vegetables. And why can't they eat the vegetables? Because the vegetables do not taste good, right? Even when they try to eat the vegetables, they have to put a bunch of oily sauce on top of it, or salt the food very heavily, or buy a can of spaghetti sauce that's made with oil and sugar and salt and pour that on their vegetables. or they have to eat it with a bunch of fat like avocado and very, very high fat dressings. They don't like the taste of the food. And why don't they like the taste of the food? It's because they're used to eating salty, oily, sugary, concentrated, stimulating food. And if you do that enough, then you ruin your palate. And your palate can no longer taste the fruits and the vegetables. And so, of course, the vegetables do not taste good. Right? Nobody is incredibly excited about eating a salad, apart from myself, but I can taste the salad. I literally would love to sit down to a meal that is just a huge plate of steamed chard and kale and broccoli and cauliflower. I don't require a dressing to eat that because I can taste the sodium and the salty tastes of all the vegetables. There's also sugar in there too. And if you have a damaged, degraded palate, you're not going to be able to eat the food. But to me, the food tastes great. I literally dream all day about going home for dinner and sitting down to a huge plate of steamed vegetables or raw vegetable salad. Okay? Cloud Outer Reefs. After 2 weeks plant-based diet, my blood pressure today was 130/78. Well, I hope that's better than it was before, right? God bless you and your beautiful family. Absolutely. Very good. I'm glad you could do that on your own. That's fantastic. Good to hear. So a good way, people ask me all the time, if fasting is a good way to lose weight. Well, fasting, while you are fasting, you will lose about 1 pound a day. Okay, you'll lose about 1 pound per day of fasting. So if you fast for around 20 days, you can expect to lose 20 pounds. Okay? However, when you return to eating food again, you are going to gain a significant amount of that weight back. If you continue to eat a healthy diet and pay attention to the caloric density chart that I just gave to you, then there is no reason that you shouldn't continue to lose weight after maybe a month or two of eating a very, very healthy diet. You will continue to drop and lose weight until your ideal weight is achieved. And the fast makes it so much easier to be successful because you can now taste the vegetables and the fruits. Right? After a week or two of fasting, you go to eat that spinach and that broccoli and that cauliflower and that mango and that watermelon, that is going to be heaven to you. And as long as you don't ruin your palate, then that food will continue to taste good and you will continue to lose weight and have vibrant, beautiful health. Okay? Esperanza says, if you add oregano and lemon juice, it tastes better. Yes, you can add fresh herbs. You can add a little bit of lemon juice or a splash of grapefruit or orange juice. There's many, many things to do to get the vegetables to taste a little different. And we do have an ebook. In fact, we have 2 different ebooks with a combined amount of, 50 recipes. They are all perfect to use. Everything's completely 100% healthy in those books. Get them and just eat continuously from those books, and then you'll be it's perfectly healthy to do that. Okay? That's about it for me. If you guys have any questions, spit them out. Otherwise, I hope this was very educational for you. I'll be back next week. Please let me know in the comments below what you would like me to talk about. There are so many subjects. I was planning on talking about fruit, because there is a huge misconception that fruit is something that we should be limiting in our diet. And the idea that the sugar in fruit is bad for you and that carbohydrates are bad. So I was going to focus on carbohydrates and fruit and talk about that. Let me know if you want to hear about that. Otherwise, please ask me questions below, right down here, and I will answer them if they're good questions. Okay? Thanks, everybody. We will see you very soon. Bye-bye.